How to take first step for talking. Lena harbored a secret ambition, a quiet yearning to effortlessly articulate her thoughts in English. For years, she devoured textbooks, mastered grammar rules, and meticulously built an impressive vocabulary. Yet, whenever the opportunity arose to actually speak, her tongue felt heavy, her throat tightened, and a wave of crippling anxiety washed over her, silencing her completely. She often wondered how to take the first step for talking. The answer seemed elusive, shrouded in self-doubt. She dreamed of fluid conversations, of connecting with people from diverse cultures, of expressing her unique perspective without hesitation. This dream fueled her late-night study sessions and her early morning vocabulary drills. She understood the theory, but the practical application, the spoken word, remained a formidable, almost insurmountable barrier. Her internal monologue in English was perfect, but real interaction was terrifying. One crisp autumn morning, staring at her reflection, Lena made a firm resolution. No more hiding. No more silent frustration. She decided it was time to confront her biggest fear head-on. She declared, "I must learn how to talk in English, truly talk, not just understand." This was her pivotal moment, the true starting point of a challenging yet incredibly rewarding journey. Her journey began with intensive research: how to learn English for talking, English study plan for talking, and how to improve your English. The internet offered a bewildering array of advice, from intense immersion programs to casual conversation groups. She felt overwhelmed but determined to find a strategy that resonated with her specific needs and her inherent shyness. A recurring theme in her research was the fundamental importance of vocabulary. How to learn words became her immediate focus. She realized that simply recognizing words wasn't enough. She needed them to be readily available for active recall during conversation. This required a different approach, moving beyond passive understanding to active mastery. She started by creating physical flashcards, vibrant with colors and simple, memorable images. Each card bore an English word on one side and its definition, along with a sentence demonstrating its usage on the other. This hands-on method helped bridge the gap between abstract knowledge and practical application, making words stick more effectively in her mind. Lena discovered the power of spaced repetition for how to remember words. She reviewed new words frequently at first, then gradually spaced out her review sessions as the words became more ingrained. This systematic approach ensured that vocabulary wasn't just temporarily memorized but deeply absorbed into her long-term memory, ready for instant use. Beyond flashcards, she consciously sought out new words in context. Reading English novels, listening to podcasts, and watching movies became not just entertainment but active learning opportunities. She kept a small notebook to jot down unfamiliar words and phrases, then looked them up later, seeing how they naturally fit within sentences. With her vocabulary strategy in place, Lena moved to crafting a comprehensive English study plan for talking. She divided her day into manageable segments dedicated to different aspects of language acquisition. Consistency, she learned, was far more crucial than sporadic bursts of intense, short-lived effort. Her plan had to be sustainable. Her plan included at least 30 minutes of active listening every day. She listened to English news broadcasts, TED Talks, and podcasts on subjects she genuinely found interesting. The goal wasn't just comprehension but accustoming her ears to different accents, intonations, and the natural rhythm of spoken English, improving her auditory processing. Next, she incorporated reading English texts aloud. This simple exercise, often overlooked, helped her physically articulate words, practice pronunciation, and develop a smoother flow. It felt awkward initially, like her tongue was a clumsy instrument, but with each session, her voice grew stronger and more confident, sounding more natural. She also experimented with shadowing, a technique where she would listen to an English speaker and immediately repeat what they said, mimicking their pronunciation and rhythm as closely as possible. This was incredibly challenging but provided immediate feedback on her articulation and helped her internalize native-like speech patterns. Now came the most daunting part: how to take first step for talking. She knew theoretical knowledge wasn't enough, actual speaking practice was indispensable. The fear of making mistakes, of sounding foolish, loomed large. She needed a safe space, a low-stakes environment where she could stumble without judgment. Her first step was talking to herself. In the privacy of her room, she described her day, commented on what she saw outside her window, or even narrated her cooking process, all in English. It felt silly initially, but it built muscle memory for her mouth and tongue, preparing them for real conversations, overcoming initial resistance. Sometimes, she would stand in front of a mirror, engaging in mock conversations. This allowed her to observe her facial expressions and body language while speaking, helping her project more confidence. It was a strange exercise, but it gradually reduced the mental block associated with producing English sounds, making it less intimidating. After weeks of solo practice, Lena felt a tiny spark of readiness to interact. She cautiously reached out to an old university friend, Mia, who was also learning English and shared her anxieties. Mia immediately agreed, understanding Lena's apprehension perfectly, offering a comforting and non-judgmental space for their initial attempts. Their first conversation was halting, punctuated by long pauses and frequent corrections. Yet, a breakthrough occurred. Lena discovered that even when she stumbled, Mia understood. The world didn't end, and no one laughed. This simple realization was profoundly liberating, chipping away at the foundation of her speaking anxiety, making it less overwhelming. Mia often emphasized, why you should practice speaking is simple, it's the only way to get better at it. Reading and listening build input, but speaking activates output pathways, forcing the brain to retrieve words and construct sentences in real time. It's a completely different skill, demanding active engagement and quick thinking. Lena learned to let go of perfectionism. She realized that fluency wasn't about speaking without errors, but about communicating effectively despite them. Every mistake was a learning opportunity, a sign that she was pushing her boundaries, not a reason to retreat. This shift in mindset was crucial for consistent progress. She started to understand that the best way to learn English wasn't a single magical method but a combination of consistent effort across multiple domains. It was the synergy of dedicated study, immersive listening, active reading, and, most importantly, courageous speaking practice that truly unlocked her potential. Lena transformed her home environment into an English immersion zone. She changed her phone language, labeled household items with English words, and even thought in English whenever possible. This constant exposure, even in small ways, kept English active in her mind, making it less of a foreign concept and more of a daily reality. Her initial fear of making mistakes gradually transformed into an acceptance, even an embrace, of them. Each mispronounced word or grammatical error became a sign of progress, a clear indication that she was pushing her comfort zone. She understood that fluency wasn't about perfection, but about effective communication. After a few weeks with Mia, Lena felt brave enough to expand her practice. She joined an online language exchange group, connecting with native English speakers and other learners from around the globe. The initial awkwardness was still present, but it was less intense, replaced by a growing excitement for real interaction. Talking with people from various countries exposed her to a rich tapestry of accents and speaking styles. This broadened her comprehension abilities significantly and made her more adaptable. She learned to decipher different intonations and regional variations, making her English more versatile and her listening skills sharper. She started with simple exchanges, mastering the art of small talk, something she previously dreaded. Discussing weather, hobbies, and daily routines became her stepping stones to more complex conversations. Each successful small interaction boosted her confidence immensely, paving the way for deeper discussions without fear. With every passing day, Lena noticed a tangible shift within herself. The self-consciousness that once paralyzed her slowly receded, replaced by a quiet confidence. She no longer obsessed over perfect grammar. Instead, she focused on conveying her message, connecting with the person she was speaking to on a deeper level. The heavy tongue and tightened throat were becoming distant memories. Words that once felt stuck now flowed more naturally, albeit with occasional hesitations. Her brain was slowly rewiring itself, making the connections between thoughts and spoken English faster and more automatic, truly transforming her communicative abilities. Lena began celebrating every small victory, successfully ordering coffee in English, understanding a joke, or even just asking for directions. These micro-achievements reinforced her efforts and kept her motivated, reminding her that every step, no matter how tiny, contributed to her overarching goal of fluency. She realized how to remember words wasn't just about repetition, it was about living with them, using them in real contexts. Words became tools for expression, not just items on a list. This shift from rote memorization to active application made her vocabulary truly her own, empowering her to use it naturally. Her listening skills became incredibly refined. She could now pick up nuances, subtle meanings, and even emotional cues in English conversations. This deepened her understanding and allowed her to respond more appropriately, making her interactions richer and more meaningful for all involved, improving communication. Through her conversations, Lena also started to grasp the cultural aspects embedded within the English language. Idioms, slang, and cultural references began to make sense, adding another layer of depth to her understanding. Language, she learned, was inextricably linked to culture, enriching her overall learning experience greatly. She understood that learning English was a continuous journey, not a destination. There would always be new words to learn, new phrases to master, and new accents to understand. But now, this prospect excited her rather than intimidating her, fueling her curiosity and desire for further exploration and mastery. Then came the ultimate test. Her company announced an international conference, and Lena, unexpectedly, was chosen to present a brief report in English. Her heart pounded, old anxieties threatening to resurface, but she also felt a surge of determination. This was her moment to truly shine. She meticulously prepared her presentation, practicing it countless times, first to herself, then to Mia, then to her online language partners. She focused not just on the content but on her delivery, aiming for clarity, confidence, and natural intonation, making sure every word would resonate clearly. The day of the conference arrived. Lena walked onto the stage, a sea of international faces looking up at her. A familiar knot tightened in her stomach, but then she remembered her journey, her countless hours of practice, and the small victories that had brought her to this very point, giving her strength. She took a deep breath, looked at the audience, and began to speak. Her voice, initially a little shaky, quickly found its rhythm. Words formed coherent sentences, flowing with a surprising ease. She wasn't perfect, but she was clear, articulate, and, most importantly, completely understandable to everyone present. She even managed to engage the audience with a small anecdote, something she wouldn't have dared just months ago. Laughter rippled through the room, and she felt an immense sense of accomplishment. The connection she had always yearned for was finally happening, effortlessly and genuinely, making her proud. After her presentation, questions poured in. Lena answered each one thoughtfully, confidently, and without hesitation. She even managed a few impromptu jokes, receiving warm smiles in return. The exchange was fluid, natural, and utterly fulfilling, a testament to her persistent efforts over months. When she stepped off the stage, applause filled the room. Colleagues congratulated her, praising her clarity and confidence. The overwhelming sense of success was exhilarating, a potent validation of every struggle, every practice session, and every moment of self-doubt she had ever experienced, now vanquished. Looking back, Lena realized that the journey of how to learn English was multifaceted. It wasn't just about vocabulary or grammar, it was about building confidence, embracing imperfection, and consistently putting herself out there, even when it felt terrifying. True fluency was a holistic achievement. She now firmly believed that the best way to learn English was deeply personal but always involved breaking down mental barriers. It meant confronting the fear of speaking head-on, engaging with the language actively, and seeing every interaction, every mistake, as a valuable learning opportunity. Her transformation from a shy learner with extensive theoretical knowledge to a confident English speaker was complete. She had bridged the daunting gap between understanding and articulating, between passive intake and active output. It was a journey of self-discovery as much as language acquisition. The realization of why you should practice speaking became clearer than ever. Without consistent, deliberate practice, the most extensive vocabulary and flawless grammar remain locked away, inaccessible for real-world communication. Practice was the key that unlocked her linguistic potential, setting it free. Her newfound ability to talk in English opened up a whole new world. She could now travel without apprehension, engage with international colleagues, and consume global media effortlessly. The world felt smaller, more accessible, and infinitely more connected than before, thanks to her dedication. This linguistic empowerment spilled over into other areas of her life. She felt more confident, more adventurous, and more capable of tackling new challenges. Learning English wasn't just about a language, it was about personal growth, about pushing past perceived limitations and achieving the impossible. Lena started sharing her story and methods with friends who were also struggling. She emphasized how to take first step for talking, encouraging them to start small, with mirrors or trusted friends, just as she had done. Her journey became an inspiration, a beacon of hope for others. Even after her success, Lena continued her English study plan for talking. She joined advanced discussion groups, read more complex literature, and watched documentaries on challenging topics. The desire to refine and expand her abilities remained strong, a testament to her passion for language. She often told others there was no magic formula for how to learn English. It was a blend of consistent effort, strategic practice, and a willingness to step outside one's comfort zone repeatedly. It was about showing up every day, even when motivation waned, and believing in the process. How to remember words, transformed from rote memorization to organic integration. She didn't just remember words, she understood their nuances, their connotations, and how they contributed to the overall rhythm and meaning of a sentence. Words became extensions of her thoughts, not isolated entities. The ultimate reward was the sheer joy of communicating, of sharing ideas, laughter, and stories in a language that once felt so alien. The fear had dissipated, replaced by a genuine enthusiasm for interaction, proving that dedication truly transforms ability into an effortless, enjoyable experience. Lena's journey proved that anyone can learn to speak English fluently, regardless of their starting point. It requires courage to take that first step for talking, dedication to learn words effectively, and a commitment to a consistent English study plan for talking. Her success was a testament to these principles. How to improve your English is not a mystery, she realized. It's a process of continuous application and adaptation. Why you should practice speaking is evident in the boundless opportunities it unlocks. Her story became a powerful reminder that perseverance truly pays off. The best way to learn English is, ultimately, by doing. It's by immersing yourself, by making mistakes, by engaging with others, and by never giving up on the dream of clear, confident communication. Lena lived this truth, embodying the spirit of a true language learner. Her life had been fundamentally altered. The world now seemed smaller, more connected, and opportunities previously unimaginable were now within reach. Her journey underscored that true progress often begins with a single, courageous step into the unknown, leading to profound personal transformation. And so, Lena continued to grow, not just as an English speaker, but as an individual. Each new conversation, each new word learned, added another layer to her evolving identity. Her linguistic journey was a perpetual motion of learning, discovery, and confident self-expression. She found her voice, literally and figuratively, in English. It was a voice that resonated with confidence, clarity, and genuine connection. This was the ultimate outcome of her disciplined English study plan for talking, and her unwavering belief in her own potential.